Hello, my name is Mohamad H. This is the second project for psychology by Mohamad H. and Ali Saeed. Grade 12. Teacher's name is Miss Nurhan. The first point is investigation human behavior from biological, cognitive behavioral, and psychiatrist perceptive. This is the second point. Lesson objectives. The understanding of different perspective schools of psychology, such as biological, cognitive, behavior, psychiatrist pro- perspective, and their view on human behavior. The second point is be able to define between the different schools of thought and describe the defining factors of each one. The fourth point is exit ticket questions. From what you have understanding from the presentation, which school of thought do you agree with most in defining human behavior? Why? This is the third slide. The first point, human behavior according to the biological view. The biological approach believes behave to be as a consequences of our genes and physiology. It is the only approach in psychology that examines through feeling and behavior from a biological and thoughts physical points of view. Therefore, all that is psychological is first psychological. The second point in the third slide, the biological perspective states that all thought, feeling, and behavior ultimately have a biological cases in involves such things as studying the breathing, genetics, hormones, and the immune and nervous systems as an examples. That biological approach to explain human behavior would explain the feeling of anger as a self define that the biological urge to survive by answering the safety of useful. The last slide is homework questions. What is the best of which all series starts of a agree on which two series are completely uh, completely opposite to each other. Which two series are most similar to each other? Mention uh, at least two similars. Organize the four series from the most viable to explaining human behavior to the last exempling why each one took this place in the lists. Thank you.
Psychology Project Part 2 by Ali Said and Mohamad Hussein. investigating human behavior from biological, cognitive, behavioral, and sociocultural perspectives. Lesson objectives. The first lesson objective is to understand the different perspectives or schools of psychology, such as biological, cognitive, behavioral, sociocultural perspectives, and their views on human behavior. Second objective is to be able to differentiate between the different schools of thought and describe the defining factors of each one. Exit ticket question. From what you have understood from the presentation, which school of thought do you agree with most in defining human behaviors and why? Human behavior according to the cognitive perspective. Cognitive theory is an approach to psychology that attempts to explain human behavior by understanding human thought processes. The cognitive approach to behavior views human beings as processors of information much in the same way as a computer processes information. It focuses on areas of research such as schema processing, memory processing, and thinking, and how cognition, brain processes, may influence behavior. Cognitive theory states that through asking questions like why did that individual make that decision or take that action, we can understand human behavior on a deeper level by analyzing the processes that occurred in that person's brain, leading them to make that decision. Human behavior according to the behavioral perspective. According to the behavioral perspective, the way we behave and learn can be explained through our interactions with the environment. Our actions are always responses to stimuli which either occur naturally or because of a learned response. The behavioral perspective belongs to a school of thought known as behaviorism or behavioral theory. Behavioral theory is the analysis of human behavior focused on examining a person's environment and learned associations. Behaviorism suggests that all behavior is acquired through conditioning and can therefore be observed without consideration of thoughts or feelings, which is completely opposite to the cognitive perspective, since the cognitive perspective focuses on the feelings and thoughts behind the human behavior. Since all behavior is but a response. Behaviorism also suggests that anyone can learn to perform any action with the right conditioning. Instead of attributing talents, skills, or behaviors to genetics, personality, or cognition, behaviorists believe them to be simply a product of conditioning. Human behavior according to the sociocultural perspective. The sociocultural perspective seeks to understand human behavior and personality development by examining the rules of the social groups and subgroups in which the individual is a member. These rules are often unwritten guidelines that direct a person's actions and behavior. Race and ethnicity, religion, gender, social class, family traditions, peer groups, and age are some of the subgroups that may influence someone's behavior. Sociocultural perspective theory is a broad yet significant aspect in our being. It applies to every sector of our daily lives. How we communicate, understand, relate, and cope with one another is partially based on this theory. Our spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, physiological being are all influenced by factors studied by sociocultural perspective theory. Homework questions.